Welcome to the Wichita Dinner Table. This is week 3, the week of August 12th. I think I posted on Facebook, and the question I have for everyone is moving forward for the future shows is if anybody has any talking points, anything they want to share, any shout outs, please shoot us an email, wichitabyeb@gmail.com. We want this to be like the people's talk show, so to speak. But until then, let's get going. Today's hat, Whiskey Dicks, 801 South Seneca, daily specials, happy hours all the time, 99-cent wings. I've been going there for years. It's a great little spot. But let's get on to introductions.
Half price burgers on Wednesday, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
I ate there last night, man. Whew. Their mac and cheese is phenomenal.
It's some heavy, delicious food there.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Back for week 3, we have Emmy Award-winning Annette Lawless, Troy Trussell with Trussell Media Studios and Live Local, the Kansas Gastronomist, and first appearance at the dinner table. Joining us this evening is DJ Carbon.
Yay!
Welcome, Carbon.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. We want to involve more people.
Yeah, good vibes. Seriously. Oh my gosh.
Totally here for it.
Yeah. Oh.
So this past weekend, anybody do anything cool? I know, Carbon, you had a fully loaded event schedule.
Yes, Friday night we did adult skate at Carousel, by far one of my favorite things to do. Always a blast. And then Saturday got to raise some bunch of amazing money. We were part of the Bourbon Salute over at Crown Uptown, which is a great event, especially for all of my bourbon lovers. I know I got a few of us on here right now, but great event. They do some pairings. They do a whole bourbon bottle pull. There's some auctions. A great event that goes to the first sergeants at McConnell Air Force Base. If you're not familiar with them, they are the ones that if someone on site needs resources, maybe needs some money to get home, they have any type of issue, the first sergeants is the call that gets made. So, they ran into a medical issue or a home issue, their car broke down, they can't do a thing. The first sergeants are who they reach out to, and they're the ones that are trying to do this fundraising so they could help out a lot of the people on base. So
has anybody done adult skate night before over at Carousel?
Has
anybody else gone or attended?
No.
Does anybody know how to skate? Do y'all know how to skate?
Yes.
I've been there on like school fundraiser nights, and it's a lot of fun. But I need to make it to adult night because I hear it's
1 to 10. A 1 to 10 scale. 10 like professional skater. 1 bad. What are you?
I'm probably a 6.
Okay.
I can skate pretty fast.
I'm definitely a 10, Eddie. I'm a 10, no doubt.
I challenge you to a skate off, TKG.
Oh, no.
Oh my gosh.
TKG's just hugging the rail all the way around.
Pretty much.
That's me. I can stand. I can go around the rink, but it takes me I think kids probably go around me 5 times by the time I'm getting around one time.
Do you need the trainer out there?
Yeah. I thought about getting the little, the little pusher? Like a little granny thing? Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know.
No,
We've checked it out before. It's a fun little time. We did a date night there, but I am a horrible skater, and everybody else can do the whole twirl, skating backwards.
In all honesty, a lot of the people I tell people, I'm like, half the people that come out don't even put skates on. We just play old school vibes that you don't necessarily hear everywhere. So a lot of people just come to hang out just because it's a nightlife event that's a little bit different. And you always have eye candy of watching the skaters. Because, we've got some talented skaters out there that are doing the dips, the twists. They get the line going on. It's a blast.
Wow.
That's awesome.
All right. I'm going to need to see this TKG Live Local skate off sometime.
That's right. Let's go.
I'd love to do that. Get some of those nachos with that cheese, get some skating rink food. I haven't had skating rink food in way too long.
Yeah.
And they have drinks. And they have drinks in the evening.
Yes.
Anything else up this past weekend? I know I saw TKG over at Brick and Mortar for margaritas and mojitos. It was a big cocktail competition featuring, I want to say felt maybe 14, 15 different margaritas and mojitos.
Yep. Seven vendors, and most of them had both margaritas and mojitos. And I think first place margarita went to Chicken and Pickle, and then first place mojito went to Emerson Biggins from the judges, and it was a blind tasting. So we had no idea what we were drinking. I really enjoyed the margarita from Chicken and Pickle. It had like a jalapeno on it, like on a stick, and so you could put it in there. But the
Nice.
mix also had this spice or jalapeno to it. It was quite good.
And then I think my favorite was the mojito from Walker's Jazz Lounge.
What made it special?
That's a great question. That's a very, very good
It
question.
just tasted so good.
It was
You
just
were
a really
like,
good
"Got it,
tasting
keep going."
mojito.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a lot of the vendors. They did little spin-offs. They had some fruit
Okay.
in there. This is just like a simple mojito, which is like really all I was looking for. I went back for a handful after that. So yeah, I don't know what
That's
else.
great.
It's always interesting with those comps because sometimes you have everyone that does a basic thing or everyone goes
Yeah.
extra. So the basic is what wins a lot of times.
Yeah. And then 12 hours after judging that, I made my way over to Interest Bank Arena for Wingapalooza. This is the first year they had it back. I want to say like in 5 years. I saw Troy there.
Yep, we were there.
They had a ton of vendors of that one.
Yeah, were there like 22 vendors, I think?
Wow.
20. Yeah, I remember the judging sheet had 23 names, one canceled sales, 22 different wings.
Yeah, it was wild. I probably ate about 48 wings because once I found my top 3, I just kept going back.
So any favorites stick out for you, Troy?
Yeah, so Stroud's was really good. They were the first wing that I had after I'd almost gone around the whole room that had a little heat to it, which I love. But number one for me was Top Golf. They had this Cajun dry rub, and the sous chef there is, graduated from WSU Culinary School, moved away, and then noticed that the food scene in Wichita was coming around, and then he moved back up here to come to work back home, which I thought was a pretty cool story. And then also Argentina's empanadas, they had a great wing. They had it was a unique, different flavor than all the rest, I thought, and so they were in my top 3 as well. So
I did a blind taste. Go on.
I was going to say, did everyone bring their own wings, or did they were given wings and then just had to prep them? I'm just curious what the baseline was for
I don't know how it was done,
Wingapalooza.
actually.
So they didn't. Okay. Yeah, they didn't cook the wings on site. So that was like the one thing that I would point out that was a little disappointing because there weren't any that were real crunchy or anything. So you were basically tasting them for the flavors and not really the prep of the wing because they won't let them cook them on site. So
makes sense.
Yeah, I did a blind taste test back in the judges' room, and Top Golf was my favorite. I want to say the other 4 that stuck out for me were the Anchor, Lottie, Jumbos.
Jumbos was good. Lottie was really unique. Darren was with me, Darren Hackney, and he loved the Lottie wing, but it was so different. I didn't know what to think about it. It wasn't good, it wasn't bad. Like, it was just weird for me,
And now I'd like to welcome Jen Ray, the owner of the Monarch. She's doing something pretty special. Her and I want to say like 12 or 13 other establishments around town, they're doing something called Service for a Change. Jen, welcome to the dinner table. Do you want to give us like a high level, overview of Service for a Change?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, so last year I participated in the Leadership Wichita class through the Chamber. And on one of the days, we were able to meet with local nonprofit leaders and discuss the business community's role in the nonprofit sector and supporting their efforts. And I had posed the question in our class, what makes the biggest difference? Restaurants are often the first places asked for donations and, cash or food or gift cards. And those donations come in quite frequently. And I started to wonder, is it making more of a difference to spread my resources around as far as I can? Or would it be better if we could all pool together and do something bigger? So a group of us came together. There's actually 16 local restaurants that have come together, and we have decided over the course of a year to try to raise $100,000 to build a Habitat for Humanity house. We all know that the cost of rent is a big issue right now in our community. Homelessness is a big issue in our community. And so we wanted to see if we work together, if we could be really intentional about where we are putting our money and what we are doing, and seeing if we could make some real lasting change for a family in town.
Awesome. Real quick before we
Mm.
get into the questions, I got a list of the restaurants. You have Bake Sale Treat Parlor, Central Standard, Homegrown, Hopping Gnome, The Monarch, Mort's, Norton's Brewing Company, Picasso's, Public at Old Town, River City, The Artichoke, The Belmont, The Kitchen, Reverie, Hopping Gnome, and of course, One Life Spirits.
Wow.
Did I miss anybody?
Very cool.
I think that's it.
So, how can people find out about these events, Jen?
So if you follow the Wichita Habitat for Humanity page on Facebook, they are doing a really great job of sharing all of these events and making sure that their followers know where to go. There's also a tab that you can drop down and check out on the Wichita Habitat for Humanity website. And then, of course, just following the social media accounts for all of your favorite local restaurants. We're all doing a good job of trying to collaborate on these efforts and share other places' events. We've got a brew day coming up this week for Hopping Gnome. They're going to do a beer release in support of this. So I'm sure you'll see plenty of photos coming out as we start working on that Wednesday.
That's awesome. Jen, are you guys looking for any additional restaurants or businesses to join? Are you guys interested in that? What's the status on that?
Yeah, absolutely. We are asking any participating restaurant to make a commitment over the 1 year to raise at least $5,000 towards this initiative, and that's not it's not a hard number, but it's a goal. So we make sure that everyone is working towards, actually making sure that this gets done. But yeah, the more restaurants that feel like they want to participate in this and are inspired by this, we're hoping to, after we finish this one, to be able to move on next year with a different initiative and keep this going.
That's beautiful. I love it.
You.
I mean, has anybody attended any of the events? I know, Annette, you mentioned you went to the kitchen and they had
Yeah, so they
cake
have
deal.
their cake of the month, so that's going on. I love seeing that. I'm gonna have to pay more attention to the Habitat Facebook and make sure I'm sharing those events so people can participate.
Right.
Yeah.
If I wanted to get involved, like let's say I want to grab a bunch of bloggers and like, hey, let's throw some events and just see if we can raise 5,000. You open to that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And this isn't necessarily supposed to be another way to fundraise. We are all trying to use our resources to raise money for Habitat, but it's also a way to really stop and take a look at how we are giving and seeing if we can channel that money differently as well. I know a lot of places got a little concerned with their level of giving already. Well, how am I going to add more to that? Well, you can. The community needs more. But if you can't give more, this is also an opportunity to take a step back and make sure that we are being intentional and thoughtful with the limited resources that we all have.
And is there a cutoff date for this? Like, is there a goal you want to have this raised by?
April of next year.
Okay.
We really started kicking it off this spring. So yeah, we're giving ourselves a full 12 months. This isn't necessarily going to equate to one more house added to the roster because it does take a lot of resources to be able to acquire the land and put the future home buyers through the appropriate courses so they know how to keep up with their mortgage and take care of their home. There's a lot that goes into being able to get a Habitat for Humanity home. So if we could add one more to the roster next year, great. But if not, we're just making sure that we can ensure that Habitat has the resources to keep putting families in safe, sustainable housing.
Awesome. Well, Jen, thanks for hopping on. Thanks for doing big things in the community. If anybody hasn't checked it out, the patio at the Monarch, excellent little spot. They're over at 579 West Douglas Avenue. So we'll make sure you get your due and your shout out. So appreciate
Thank
you,
you.
Jen.
Thank you guys for everything. I appreciate you.
Awesome. We'll see you next time. Things in the community. First off, I want to say, if you haven't watched it yet, spoiler alert on the Great American Food Truck Race. Argentina's empanadas, they were eliminated.
Yeah.
They made it to the final three. Did everybody watch the episode or have a chance to catch it?
I have not.
Sorry for ruining it, Carbon.
That's all right.
TKG, Troy,
Yeah,
did you watch it?
I watched last night. I actually watched it pretty close to live, and it was sad for sure.
Yeah.
And actually,
yeah.
they only lost by like $84, 80 something dollars. And I think Carolina made the comment on the show. She's like, it would have been a lot better if we would have lost by $1,000, but not $84. And also for those that watched it, they were not penalized, but there was a challenge where the winner of the challenge would get to shut down a truck for an hour. And so I think it was Waffles, but it might
Wally's
have been
Waffles.
Balbe. Yeah, it was what? Yeah. Wally's Waffles picked Argentina empanadas, so they had to shut down for an hour. So that $84 probably would have been, made up in that hour that they were having to be shut down.
Wow.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. It kind of took away from the competition of it all, and it was just horrible timing.
I didn't see the episode, but I was going through their Facebook, just all the comments last night were, it was crazy. But was that the rule that the people in the comments were talking about? That was the unfair rule that the host kind of threw in, was the hour off or whatever?
I
feel like, go on, TKG.
It was a challenge that they didn't know was coming. Was that the one where they did the blind shopper, or not blind shoppers, but trying to think of the term, but the two from the prior show that were the shoppers,
basically a blind shopper. They sent a former winner of the show to go in, try the food, gauge them on their service and whatnot. And I don't know, I would have liked to see a competition be awarded based off of the work that they put in, and not have some random rule where somebody can get shut down.
That's what happens when you make it for TV.
Yeah, but that's
reality TV.
Exactly.
Whatever.
Moving on to more reality, the big hot topic in Wichita over the past weekend is the downtown parking. It was announced over the weekend that starting January 1st, 2025, all downtown parking will be converted to paid parking. There's been a slew of criticism, feedback, comments, social media, Reddit, you name it. Initial thoughts, if you want to share it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Troy.
I work downtown, right? And so parking is already a big deal down here for clients coming up to the studio and different things. I did a lot of research. I'm finding it hard to find words because there's still not a lot of information out there. They're just saying, hey, this is what we're going to do, and this is when we're going to do it, but there's not a lot of info about it. We don't know what the rates are going to be, how they're going to do it. The map is not even updated yet.
That's what I was asking about. Okay.
Yeah. So there's just still a lot of questions that I have, around it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was shocked when I first heard it. I was like, okay, it makes sense. My immediate thought went to, obviously, my background, Old Town. I'm like, you know what, all the extra policing and everything else that has to happen there, sure, raise more funds. Old Town, the fact that parking is free in such a hotspot area is amazing, considering most markets. But that's what I first thought. And then they said all of downtown, and I haven't seen the map. I was some people said all the way through Delano. I was like, what is
Yeah,
what is
it's
going
old.
on?
It's Old Town through Delano. Is
Yeah,
all
Old
gonna
Town,
be,
downtown, Delano.
yeah, it's all going to
Wow.
be paid parking.
That's going to be I mean, there's going to be a lot of people, and depending on what rates are. I mean, I know when I did the Bourbon Salute, it was $5 an hour, and for a 5-hour event that I had to be there for, adding $25 to a ticket is not an easy thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have one of the kids in our house. I mean, she works down Delano, and you're not making much, as a teenager essentially. So then to add those fees on it, it's tough. I posted questions I had on Facebook, and I know the city's inviting people to attend these informational meetings that are taking place over the next 2 weeks to go voice your concerns. There's some over at KMUW, Pump House, uh, downtown Wichita. It's multiple places. I plan on attending, at least one of them, and just have my voice heard. I really don't, do much in the, I guess, political realm. I kind of stay just, in my own little space. But I think this is a pretty big topic, and I think being able to have your voice heard is pretty important, especially for something that affects not just so many people, but all those businesses downtown. Like I'm thinking of, bussers who make, minimum wage that are working downtown, and I'm not sure how much parking is going to be, but if it affects, a busser who's working for, I don't even know what minimum wage is, but if it costs more to park than it does to work, that's a tough deal. And the people who live downtown too, it's just
Yeah.
Can I just throw this one thing out? So I don't have a strong opinion on it, and it's because I don't know enough. And Eddie, you posted yesterday, and you posted a link to the plan that had been written up in 2019. It's called like the 2019 plan. It's like 110 pages or something. I skimmed probably 30 pages out of curiosity. The only thing I would say to Troy's point about there's a lot of unanswered questions is it's August and this is supposed to be implemented January 1. I will say this. If they've been looking at this since 2019, that's 5 flipping years. To be this close to January 1, they need to extend it. I will say that. I mean, because maybe they're going to make a buster exception. I don't know. But there's a lot to figure out to do it the right way. And it's just, it's too far in the game. You got to move the deadline.
Yeah. My concern is that, so they've been working at this actually well beyond 2019. This has been a problem, an issue that the city's been trying to address. But when looking at the information, so they presented this to the city council. The city council voted on this last January. So not this January, the January before, or January with this new transition, I guess I should say. And the political stuff, people, kind of feisty online with the politicians, former and present. But the thing that I think is frustrating is, that time frame is so short, but without this is how much it's going to cost, or this is how the layout of everything's going to be. My fear is that misinformation or the lack of information will push people out. Maybe it's not that complicated. Maybe they're like, we want to have a way for people to use cash or card or an app. They want all these things. They haven't decided those things, but they wanted that. And I think that is important. It's important to know the rate. It's important to know all these different layers. But when you don't have those questions answered now, I fear it's going to push people away. So then they're like, well, I don't want to go there. Because I will admit, when they made changes to Century 2 from the old meter to the current thing, I hated it. I still feel it's confusing. Yeah. And I'm like, that kind of just, unappealing. I fear what that could do to businesses, for small businesses that are there and they have employees. And if they're not making their bottom line, those people are going to go, or those businesses are going to go to another place where it's a little more convenient.
Yeah, right now in this window, who would open a business downtown with that big question mark, or move resident to live there? I wouldn't want, that's a tough ask. So until they get some clarification, I feel like all business is going to stop. No one's going to want to move in that area without these unanswered questions right now.
And I feel like over the past, 4 or 5 years, downtown area, even Delano, has seen a huge revitalization. Yeah. And why aren't we, pouring, gasoline on the fire, just continue to grow it? And this just is a kind of a sour note on it. And hopefully
But again,
things will improve.
yeah, and like I said, so I just want to be clear, like that change, like that vote happened before this switch to the new council or some of the new council members. I did reach out to some council members to get like, I'm like, how much conversation was had before. I know that they had mentioned in the minutes with what was discussed in this presentation to the city council. They talked about it like with the Old Town Association. They're like, oh, well, they're been in communication with some businesses and stuff. So, I mean, people were aware, but I don't think a lot of people were aware or known the depth of it all. So because of all the, conversation online now. So I'll report back.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. I know I do plan on attending the informational meeting this week. So hopefully I'll have some more information next week. I probably won't, but we'll see. We'll see where it goes and where it takes us. I mean, January 1st is, like only 4 months away. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move into something a little sweeter. New restaurants opening up. Mochinut is getting ready to open up at 8641 West 13th Street North. This week they're having their soft opening every day, and then next week will be their grand opening. They have one current location already at Kellogg and Greenwich, and this is their second location. Different owners, though. Has anybody ever been to a Mochinut in general?
Oh, yeah. We went to the East one. My kids are big fans.
Have you ever had one, Annette, TKG?
Well, after our last episode, I did get invited to come to the soft opening, and that was so exciting. So my son and I went, and I've never had a Mochinut, like a donut of that kind, and so that was different. And then finally getting the corn dog. So
you got your Korean corn dog finally.
Yeah, that was our game. We got it, and we loved it. Everyone just devoured what was given. It was so good. So
what topping?
What a neat experience. We tried everything.
Nice.
I really liked the potato. I liked them all. Like, I was like, I could be down for this, like on the regular. I'm glad I don't live super close to either. So we'll make it a treat, because I'm like, I don't want to go there all the time and be like, oh, you will see it on my waistline. But it was so good. But their boba, like, I love the way they can their boba. I mean, it was really special. So I am thrilled to see that opening on the west side.
I'm going to guess, TKJ, you haven't been there, because for those that don't know, he's not a huge fan of sweets.
That's true. I have not been, but Eddie, you did post about some breakfast item there, and I forget what it was called, but that looked pretty intriguing to me.
If you decide to go, it's not too far from where I live, so if you head out west, I'll meet you there, and a mochi donut on me.
All right. That sounds good. I'll take you up on it.
Okay. I also want to take a quick word to thank our sponsors, Stan Fisher Tabletops. Owners Stan and Crystal Fisher partner with local businesses through tabletop advertising. They are currently partnering with Empire Tacos, Lori's Kitchen, Amy's Pizza Place, and The Grill in Mulvane. If your business is interested in being represented on the tables, give Stan a call at 316-350-6739. On to an even bigger thing. This week, school is back in session.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Get those five kids back in school. Let's go.
Yes.
Ours starts Wednesday. Is everybody's kids back in school this week?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I got 4 in Wednesday and then 1 on next Monday. So we're excited to get it going again.
I'm going to join my PTO this week. So I'm excited to see what that's like and be involved in those like carnivals and back to school bashes and all that fun stuff. I'm actually really excited for first day of school. Like, I don't think I've been this excited for first day of school since I was probably like in 6th grade. So other events taking place this week. Shopping Grub at Exploration Place, August 16th from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's technically out in the festival area. If nobody's ever been, it is a cool little market, a lot of food trucks, vendors that sell apparel, hats, jewelry, art, all sorts of cool things. It's outside. Knock on wood, the weather is nice as it was last weekend, because this past weekend is probably the most beautiful weekend I've seen in Wichita this year.
It was comfy out there.
So nice.
And then on Saturday, August 17th, is Brazito. Brazito Bites, they are a Brazilian food truck. It is their 4-year anniversary. and they're having a big old bash at Central Standard Brewing. Live music, a Brazilian dance band. I think it's called Brazita. It's going to be just a really cool time. I remember checking out Brazito Bites 4 years ago on their grand opening day. These little, I'm going to mispronounce the word, cocina. It's like these little stuff. Cochina? Yeah. I don't know. Little stuffed pastries, like meat, cheese. It's excellent. Nice little finger foods. So check that out if you have not been there before. Otherwise, the rest of the week, we're looking at highs in the 90s. So I don't think it's going to be as nice as it was this past week, but we'll make do.
Better than it was, man. Better than it was.
That's a good saying. All right, here we go. Let's end this. What's good in Wichita? Remember, this is a time where we can share something heartwarming, something we've experienced or heard about in Wichita, maybe a place we visited that deserves a shout out, someone in the community doing good work. I'll start. I want to give a shout out. I did this early on Facebook to Bryce Lobb. He is the owner, one of the founders of Una Vida Tequila, or One Life Spirits, I should say. That's the overhead company. They also have like El Trago, Laban, all sorts of different little spirits. And Bryce Lobb and his company are always at events around town. They've been supportive of so many causes back during COVID when bartenders were shut down and were at home. Him and his team would go leave bottles of tequila on bartenders' doorsteps.
The Tequila Ferry.
Oh
Yeah, the Tequila Ferry. It was a story that was picked up nationally. He is such an awesome dude. I've done some events. I know I did an event last year where we raised about $5,000 for one of these charities that helps like dyslexic kids, and he answered my call, was a part of it, no questions asked, and helped us raise that money. So shout out to Bryce Lobb, his whole team. I love Una Vida Tequila. It's one of my favorites. So that's my shout out.
Nice. I'll go next. My shout out is for When Pigs Fly. Last week is a bit of sad news. They're big dog lovers, and they had one of their dogs pass away. But his name was Pork Chop, and I think it was last Thursday or Friday. They cooked up a bunch of free pork chops. So if you wanted to come in and make a donation to Beauties and Beasts or the Wichita Animal Action League, you could go in, make a donation, and get a free pork chop. So even in their grieving, losing their little furry guy, they turned that around and did something great for the community. So just big hearts over there at When Pigs Fly. I just wanted to share that. Just thought it was a great story.
I saw that online, Troy. That was really cool. And yeah. I couldn't make it. I was out of town, but I definitely would have been there.
TKG, you're up next.
I'm up next. All right. So mine's dog cat related too. Just a quick shout out to Wheat Street Dogs. For those that don't know, that is a vegan food truck, a vegan hot dog food truck. But by the way, if you don't think they're good, they're amazing. But the owners have a tip jar. And every month, all of the money that's put into that tip jar is sent to Friends of Felines, Beauties and Beasts, and Wichita Animal Action League. And so I just think that's really cool and wanted to give them a shout out for having a tip jar that 100% goes to those not-for-profits here in Wichita.
That's awesome.
Carbon, you're new.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Pat. Shaken or Stirred Bartending, if you're ever in need of a mobile truck. He's the one that put together a lot of the people for the Bourbon Salute. Again, an amazing event for a great cause. So if anyone's ever in need, Pat, they've got a great product, great team. So salute to them. So many sponsors part of that. I just love to shout them all out. Monarch. Got to spend some time there this weekend too. I was there twice this weekend. Can't go wrong with a good patio. So but Pat, Shaken or Stirred Bartending, great folks, and was honored to be a part of a great event for a great cause.
All right, Annette, take us home.
Sure. So I am on the road. This is not my normal backdrop, by the way. I am in Las Vegas. So exciting. And the reason why I want to mention that is for two things. One, our airport, so good. I love it. Flying through Wichita. I haven't done it a ton until this year, just a lot of opportunity. And to go through our airport, it's just so easy to get through and just so clean. I love it, especially with my kids too. They got a little play area. It's kind of perfect. But bringing me out here, I'm out here for like kind of a journalism related thing. I'm on the Emmy board for our region. So we have Emmy awards we give out to journalists, and I'm on this board that makes all sorts of decisions. And we're in Vegas this week to do some decision making. But the cool part is I wanted to visit Coco Dolce out here. I just think it's so wild. I know, like, Fontainebleau, so a new hotel out here on the Strip. Beautiful, so beautiful. This building just, it's huge, all the shopping and stuff. And Coco Dolce is up on the second floor, and it's gorgeous, this little spot. And so we got a chance to speak with the one worker there. And I'm like, it's such a contrast to, of course, the experience we have in Wichita, but it's nice to have that taste of it out here. And just seeing people come in and they're learning about Coco Dolce and what it's about. And this worker is she's so proud of saying this is a taste of Kansas and a taste of our city. And to see people go and they're like, oh, this is gorgeous. I would have never thought. That kind of experience to share with those people was really special. So I just love, we just had to stop by there and check it out. So gorgeous location.
I mean, that's awesome to have something started here, explode out to Vegas. So shout out to them.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, Carbon, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. We'll hope to have you again.
Yes.
Otherwise, with that said, to my guests and to all those watching at home, I want to thank you for joining us this evening. You've all been excused from the dinner table.
There it is.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Eddie.